Making $1 million isn't as complicated as you may think that it is. It's actually really, really simple. Now, I've made over 7 figures online in my business with just one digital product doing a little over 900K. And these are the 10 simple principles that I use to make it happen. Now, it's only going to take me about 5 minutes to break down these 10. So if you don't have 5 minutes to spare, then you'll probably just end up wasting a lot of your time and energy focused and working on things that simply do not matter at all. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, number one, out the gate, what cripples most entrepreneurs is that they don't realize that it's mindset over skill set. About 85 to 90% of all this stuff is simply a mindset thing. And people, they're too focused on the skill set. What do I need to do? How do I do this? What are the tactics for this? They spend so much time watching how-to videos and buying books and marketing books and all this stuff when it's the mindset first. And when I tell people that I focus mainly on mindset, or if they ask me something and I give them a mindset answer back, they think that it's all fluff. They think that I'm talking fluff, like, well, when you gonna get to the tactics, when you gonna get to the skill work. But if you don't have the mindset, it doesn't matter what tactics that you have. Think about it. If you're watching this video right now, and be honest with yourself. You can lie to me, but don't lie to yourself. You can lie to the world, just don't lie to yourself. How many how-to videos have you watched that you have not implemented anything? But you spend time watching how-to video after how-to video after how-to video, lying to yourself, saying that you're learning when that learning is actually just disguised as procrastination because you ain't doing shit with it. Why? Because you don't have the mindset. And mindset is more important than skill set. Have you ever started anything or tried anything and quit before? Be honest with yourself. Make you feel more comfortable? I'll raise my hand. Me, I have. Now, have you ever quit that same thing that you started? I'll be the first one to admit, I have. Now, have you ever seen anybody else be successful at that same exact thing that you quit? I know I have. Now, was that a skill set problem when I started and quit that thing? Or was it a mindset problem? It was a mindset thing, because the only separator between that person that you've seen succeed at the same exact thing that you quit was mindset. So the number one thing that I invest in, whether that be my money or my time, is in my mindset and personal development. It all starts there. And there was a time in my business where I actually put business and skill set over mindset and personal development, and things got bad for my business very quickly when I lost a little track of that once upon a time in my journey. So mindset is more important than skill set, which leads into number two. Entrepreneurs are not civilians. Entrepreneurs are not civilians. Now, what do I mean by that? I put people in two buckets. If you are not an entrepreneur, I call people civilians. I have to completely separate the two and put them in two separate buckets, because the mindset behind the two are a complete 180. Entrepreneurs do not think like the regular, everyday, what I call normal civilian person. And that's one of the main things that cripples most aspiring entrepreneurs, or cripples most entrepreneurs, and why they can't make the amount of income that they want to make in their business, is because they're listening to so many civilians that have a complete backwards thought process than they have. And they're listening and taking advice from civilians instead of listening and taking advice from actual entrepreneurs. So I'll give you this example. My parents, I love both of my parents more than anything. I talk to both of my parents, if not 7 days a week, at least 5 to 6 days a week, both of them. They give me great advice. But my parents cannot give me any advice about what I'm doing in my business or as an entrepreneur. Why? Because they have not experienced it. They think backwards. Certain risks that I'm willing to take, they can't fathom taking those type of risks because they know nothing else outside of getting a paycheck from their 9 to 5. They know nothing else outside of getting that paycheck and having health and benefits and all that stuff. And my mama knows about the 401k and all that type of stuff. Most failing entrepreneurs, they're taking that advice from their parents that have never been an entrepreneur, that have only worked a job for 25, 30, 40 years. And that opinion of their loved ones is holding weight. They're asking their friends who all have 9 to 5s that have never been an entrepreneur, that have never hunted, as I'll call. They don't eat what they kill. They get served every single meal. Because out here as an entrepreneur, you're a hunter. There's a difference between a wild dog in Africa and a house dog, a pet. There's a difference. You're a wild dog, you're not a pet. An entrepreneur eats what they kill. And they're taking advice from loved ones, from friends, from families, from co-workers. You know how many people I hear taking advice from co-workers on stuff that they want to do outside of a 9 to 5? You both work at the same job. Why are you listening to their advice about what you want to do as an entrepreneur? It makes no sense. So you have to realize that entrepreneurs are not civilians. And if you want to live a life that a very, very, very few people live, because just think of the world. Majority of people that you just cross paths with in your everyday life, they're not entrepreneurs. We're a rare breed. We are the minimum. But the minimum of entrepreneurs run the world. We're powerful. And when I say that, civilians get offended, but they don't realize that they work for an entrepreneur. Every single 9 to 5 job is some entrepreneur that had the mindset to build something that they employ everybody. So entrepreneurs, we're a rare few, but entrepreneurs run the country and run the world, actually. I have a true belief that entrepreneurs are the only people who can change the world, because entrepreneurs feed everybody. But just take heed of the advice that you listen to from people, because I know I got to a point where I just had to stop taking advice from people, and I just had to stop taking advice from people that I love. And it's not that advice is coming from a place of wanting to see me fail. It's coming from a good place. It's coming from a place of love, because these people, I know that they genuinely love me, and some of these people are the only people that I know in my life have true unconditional love for me. So they want nothing but for me to succeed. But they're giving me advice from a place of theory, whereas some of these loved ones are, like I said, my parents as an example. Everything where they give me great advice, they can give me that great advice because they're speaking from fact. They give me irrefutable facts from their life experience and their walk in life, to whereas I can apply it. But majority of the people in my life, I realize, are civilians, and they are giving me this advice from a place of theory because they have not experienced any of it. So I'm like, okay, I love you, but I can't listen to this advice that you give me. Give me the other advice. You've never walked this path before. Me and my pops, we joke about it to this day. If I ever took his advice about firing my job back in 2016, I would probably still be working today. He got upset. He called me one day. He thought I was on my lunch break. And he's like, you on your lunch break? I was like, nah, I quit last Friday. He said, you quit? What are you talking about? This was like on a Monday. I quit my job. April 1st, 2016 was a Friday, I believe. That Monday, he called me, thought I was on my lunch break. Nah, I quit on Friday. You quit? What are you talking about? Why didn't you call me? We could have talked about it, blah, 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 blah. I had never made $1 for myself as an entrepreneur when I fired my job. He would have tried to talk me out of it, out of wanting me to be safe and protection. Save up some money, save up more money, work your way through, try this, figure some stuff out, see that you're making some money before. It's all coming from a place of love. But he's never experienced this before. I said, I know myself. I gotta jump off the porch. I gotta jump out of the tree like an eagle and figure out how I'm gonna fly on my way down before I hit the ground. Been working out so far. Now, number 3, the B comes before the get. And this is a big one. The be comes before the get. What does this mean? You have to become a different person before you can get what it is that you actually want. And most people have this backwards. Most people think that they're going to get the thing that they want, and then they will become what they want to be. That's why most people never actually become it. They never actually attain the goal, because you have to become it first. So a prime example of this, people, they tell me all the time that when they get a certain amount of money, I don't know why this is the number for these people, but it's always either $10,000 or $100,000. Yo, when I make my first 10K, then I'm gonna start doing this and investing in content creation and blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, no, you won't, because you're not doing it right now. Somebody, they'll say when they get their first $10,000, they'll invest in this and that and that. But right now, they won't even spend the $3.99 on an editor app to remove the watermark at the end. When they post their video at the end, it says video leap, because they won't pay the $3.99 to just remove the watermark on the app. So if you won't pay $3.99 now, why, when you think you make your first $10,000, you're going to hire a video editor? You, with the money that you have now, you won't even spend $3 to get the pro version of the app to remove the watermark. Why do you think when you have $10,000, you're going to take a chunk of that and pay a video editor? You see how it works? You have to be it, become, before you can get. Somebody, they'll say, oh yeah, when I make my first $100,000, I'm gonna be this good person. I'm gonna give back to the hood, and I'm gonna do this because I want to see my people eat. No, you won't. Because right now, you tell the homeless person to get out your face. I don't got no cash on me, when you do have cash on you. You see people that need help with what you can actually do right now, and you won't do it. Why do you think when you get more money, then all of a sudden you'll be so giving? You're not a giving person now. So the be comes before the get, and most people, they focus too much on the outputs versus focusing on the inputs. And the inputs is what produces the output. So the be comes before the get. You have to become a different person now in order to get the thing. Don't think that you're going to get the thing and then you'll start doing the stuff that you're putting off, the stuff that you're procrastinating on, the stuff that you're waiting on a certain amount of income to come in to get, or waiting on whatever that thing is. When I get this many followers, I'll start doing this. When I get this many subscribers, I'll start doing this. When I get this much money, I'll start doing this. You get this by doing that. Do that to get this. You don't get this and then do that. The be comes before the get. Number 4, you need to start making decisions over choices. Don't make choices at all. Once I started to make decisions, things really started to take off for me. Most people, they fail because they think that they have a choice. And when you choose, that means that you have options, versus when you make a decision, there's no options to choose from. You decide to do something. Once I started to make decisions and I stopped negotiating with myself, and I just drew a line in the sand and said, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm willing to die behind that decision, things took off. I used the example of me firing my job back in 2016 as an example. I made the decision that on this date, I'm firing my job. I did not choose to, because when you have choices, you're like, okay, well, if I do this, well, then I got this choice and I got this choice. No, you need to be definitive. Draw a line in the sand and be willing to die behind that decision. I heard Kobe Bryant say that, and it sparked something with me. He said, stop negotiating with yourself. Rest in peace to Kobe, my GOAT. Debate with your mama if you, whoever else you think is the GOAT. I think Kobe Bryant's the GOAT. And just think, Kobe Bryant became arguably one of the best ever in the field, where he chose to draw a line and make a decision and go all in at that thing. And the separator between him and other players was that he saw the lifestyle that they lived. He said, okay, I can get the edge on everybody if I just don't do what they do. They go party, they go hang out, they do this, they do that, whatever. I'm in the gym. He made the decision to do that. Now, when you start to make decisions, just like I say Kobe, for example, I'm sure some of the personal things in his life suffered for that. But he made that decision and he was cool within himself to be like, I'm cool with that. Or I got to get people on board in my circle that's cool with this decision that I made, right? Same thing with me. I make certain decisions. If certain people aren't cool with the decisions that I'm making, they can't be in my life, or I gotta love them from afar, keep them at a distance, because you're messing up the trajectory that I'm on. So start making definitive decisions and stop making choices, because you will be amazed to see the trajectory and the speed that things will start to happen for you when you simply just start making decisions that this is what I'm going to do. And when you make that decision, you don't give yourself an option to fail, because there's no other choice but to make it work. Number 5, track your metrics. Track your metrics. A lot of people, they're out here just moving like a chicken with their head cut off. I don't know if you've ever seen I got family from the country, chop that chicken's head off, it just be running around. And that's how most aspiring entrepreneurs are moving in their business, because they're not tracking any numbers. They don't track what is called KPIs. KPIs stand for key performance indicators. And that's why most people quit also, because when you don't have any measurable, quantifiable number to track, it's very, very easy to get discouraged and quit, because you don't know what's working and you don't know why stuff's not working, or if stuff is working, you don't know why the stuff is working. So you'll do some different stuff and then wonder why stuff stopped working, because you're not tracking anything. So key performance indicators, KPIs, you need to track your metrics in every single thing it is that you do. And then it becomes a numbers game, and you can play with the numbers as you choose. You can put a 1 here and have a 2 come out here once you actually start to track your metrics. You can see how many people that land on your landing page. What percentage of those people convert? If I have a 10% conversion rate, okay, if 100 people land on this page, 10% of the people purchase it. So for every 100 visitors, I get 10 purchases. Okay, if I'm selling something for $100, that $100 times the 10 people, that's $1,000. So then you start to think, how can I get 100 people to visit this page so I can get 10 people to buy it? Then it turns into a numbers game versus like, I don't know what I'm doing out here. When you get followers, when you get subscribers, all that stuff, how many of those people equate to a sale? Or how many of these people equate to signing up for an email list to where then I can market to people? And then out of those people that I'm marketing to, what percentage of that converts? You need to track your KPIs and track your numbers. But when you're tracking your numbers, keep it simple, because simple scales and fancy fails, which is number 6. Simple scales and fancy fails. When I kept everything very, very simple in my business, I took off and I had exponential growth very, very, very quickly. And here's what exponential growth is. If this is a growth bar, most entrepreneurs, they grow on let's say that this is time on this axis, and let's say this is money on this axis. Most entrepreneurs, they grow kind of linear growth, right? Most entrepreneurs that do grow, they kind of grow like this. They'll go, plateau, come here, have some growth, plateau, have some growth, boom. But when you zoom out from this graph, it just turns into being this linear growth that's here on the left. But when I kept things simple and focused on my KPIs, I actually had exponential growth. Exponential growth looks like this. But when I had that exponential growth, and exponential growth, just think hockey stick. You want to grow like a hockey stick. If you can think of a hockey stick, you may have a little bit of slowness here, but then it rises quickly because simple things are easy to scale. Think if you can keep your business like lemonade. My favorite drink of all time outside of water is lemonade, right? And think lemonade is so simple. Sugar, water, lemon juice. And people make a lot of money from huge corporations to little kids on the corner selling lemonade, right? Because it's so simple to make, doesn't need all these ingredients to make. If you want to make it at home, you can just make it at home with simple ingredients. Sugar, water, lemonade. In-N-Out, burgers. They sell burgers, fries, shakes. Simple. Chick-fil-A, they don't add all this different stuff to the menu. They sell chicken, fries. Boom. Simple scales. And you can have exponential growth because stuff just stays so simple and gets to a point where it's easy if you just keep it right here. There was something that happened in my business where I had that exponential growth. And then I started to meet all these new people that were saying like, hey, I can help you do this. I can grow your business doing this. You need to start doing this. Then all these different arms started to happen to my business, and it got very fancy and complicated. And stuff started to drastically fall. And I was like, whoa, what happened here? Why do I not understand a lot of this stuff when it was just simple? $1 million. Why are you starting to come in and you telling me all this stuff to scale this up to more levels? Well, I'm like, oh, just keep it simple and that will continue to scale up and you'll have that exponential growth. But initially though, where most people quit is in this range here of that simpleness, of that initial somewhat of a plateau of the hockey stick that they don't ever get to the exponential right here. And then they start to make everything fancy and then stuff never actually grows. Simple scales and fancy fails. Which leads into number 7. I realized that productivity is complete bullshit. Productivity is bullshit. A lot of times people, they spend too much time working on being busy. And I'm a victim of this myself. This is how I discovered that productivity is bullshit. And that's something I see all over YouTube too, like all these productivity hacks and productivity videos. And I'm like, if you would just stop being so productive, you would have some time to actually do something. That may not make sense to you, but listen, when I fired my job years ago in 2016, I started to treat my business like my 9-to-5. Think about this. If you have a 9-to-5 job, how many hours are you actually working at work? I know at my job, I would be there for 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours. And I would be like, okay, I actually only did about 90 minutes of work. The rest of it was just busy time. And think about this. We're conditioned this way since childhood of the school system. I don't care what you think, the school system was only designed to put us in factories. That was the original concept of the school system. I'm not gonna go into that. That's another topic for another day, but just do your research, do your Googles, right? The school system was made to teach us basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, and then put us in a factory to work. That's what it was designed for. High school is even a newer concept. High school only exists because school went up to grade 8 and then we went to work in the factories and there was a job shortage and the teenagers couldn't find any work. So they were just running amok and causing havoc in the streets. So they just started more school to basically be a daycare for teenagers. But that's some other stuff. But just think, in school also, do you remember how much busy work the teachers would give you for no reason because there wasn't anything to actually do? So they just give you some worksheet or some bullshit, busy work. That's the same thing in a 9-to-5. So when I first started as a full-time entrepreneur, I was doing the same thing. I was like, dang, I got all this free time on my hand. I need to be doing something. So I'm just being productive for productivity's sake. And I'm not actually getting any work done. And this is why I run circles around people. I will sit and I will get more done in 90 minutes than somebody else gets done in like 3 days, sometimes even a week, because I realized that I only need to focus on something called the Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule. 80% of the results come in from 20% of the efforts. So I only started focusing on the 20%, whereas most people focus on the 80%. So if I'm talking about building your business online or selling a digital product, most people, their focus here is on the 80%. They're focused on the wrong shit, like what platform should I sell on? What type of digital product should it be? How long should the ebook be? How short should the ebook be? How many videos need to be in the course module? Should I sell on Teachable or Kajabi or ClickFunnels or Samcart or this, or what is the copywriting? I need to learn how to do copywriting. I need to, okay, well, if I want to make content, I need the video, I need a microphone, I need a light, I need a production, I need an editor, I need what are the marketing skills? What are the blah blah blah? Whereas they don't focus anything on what's going to bring them the money, which is this 20% of stuff. Make a good fucking product. Most people can't sell any digital products because they're focused on every single thing else except for making some good shit. And guess what happens when you make some good shit? People buy the good shit, and then people want more of the good shit, and then people go and tell other people about the good shit that they just bought. Focusing on the 20. People be like, man, how you make all this? How you be making all these sales? Because I make good shit. and how do I know I make good shit? Because it gets results. And just think of yourself, when the last time that you bought something and you were super pleased with your purchase, do you not just naturally go and tell other people about it? When you find a good car mechanic, do you not go tell other people that may have car problems about the mechanic that you just found? Or even people that don't even have a car problem, you just bring it up in conversation. Whoa, Mike, man, Mike has been a lifesaver. Mike found this problem with my car. This guy by the name of Lewis, he cuts my yard, does a great job. I'll go, and since I'm pleased with my yard, I go and I tell my neighbors about the guy that cuts my yard. On my street alone, Lewis cuts about 4 or 5 houses now, including mine. That's an extra 4 or 5 houses of business that he would not have had if I didn't just go tell my neighbors about him. Imagine who they went and told about him. Like a couple weeks ago, I seen Lewis trucks like a couple streets over. And I was like, dang, Lewis is just, he breaking up the neighborhood now. Because Lewis does good shit. So focus on the 20% instead of the 80. And most people, they're too productive. Even just think on a basic level of cleaning your house. You can sit there and you can say, I'm gonna clean my whole house. And think how long it takes you to clean your house. Because you're focused on cleaning the whole house. You're focused on being productive. But if you just sit there and say, I'm going to clean the bathroom, that bathroom gets cleaned like that. Versus a lot of times when you're thinking about cleaning the whole house, it gets put off and off and off because you're thinking of cleaning the house. Versus, I'm gonna clean the bathroom. That's all I'm focused on. Then I'm gonna clean the kitchen, and that's all I'm focused on. Then I'm gonna clean the living room, and that's all that I'm focused on. Humans are not able to multitask. Multitasking is a myth. Think of all of the times that you have been multitasking at whatever the task is, and then hours and hours and hours and hours and hours pass, or the entire day pass, and you be like, damn, I ain't getting nothing done today. And in your mind, you're like wondering, how the hell did that happen that I got absolutely nothing done? It's because you were being productive and multitasking instead of only focusing on the few little things that are actually going to get everything done. In every single thing that you do, 80% of the results are going to happen from 20% of the efforts. That's in everything. Even in simple content creation. Like I said, people focus on too much shit. Make a good video. Have the content of the video be more. People don't care about all that editing and hoopla and bells and whistles and all that. There's people that I know that spend so much money And I've been a victim of this myself in the past. Spend so much money on content creation and then wonder why nobody's watching their shit and why their social media pages can't grow or their YouTube channels can't grow or whatever the platform is that they're focused on. And it's because they're focused on everything else, the camera, the lights, the microphone, the editing, and the content is not good shit. And then they wonder why they can't grow. And then also that multitasking, they're focusing on posting on everything. Okay, I'm gonna post this on YouTube, then I'm gonna do this on Instagram, I'm gonna do this on TikTok, then I'm gonna do this on Twitter, then I'm gonna do this on Threads, then I'm gonna do this on Snap. Focus. And focus is an acronym also. Focus stands for follow one course until successful. Focus in on the 20. Number 8, fear is a good thing. Most people when they get that fearful feeling, they quit or they get paralyzed by fear and they never take action. But fear is an acronym also. It can stand for fuck everything and run or face everything and rise. I choose to make it mean face everything and rise. And I know when I have that fear come in, that's something that I need to attack because the success that I want is right on the other side of that fear. I get a lot of game from movies and cartoons and shows that I grew up loving as a kid, right? And that's something else. Stay in touch with your imagination because your inner child, that's where your confidence lies. Your inner child, that is where your belief in your dreams lies. Think about when you were a kid at 10 years old, you thought any and everything was possible. Why did it stop? Because you lost sense of that imagination. But one of my favorite superheroes, Batman, right? People, they don't know that Batman's biggest fear is bats. I caught a lot of game from that and I use it. Batman's biggest fear, he is terrified of bats. He took the biggest thing that he was afraid of and he turned that and harnessed that and turned it into a symbol. He turned his fear into a symbol of fear for criminals in Gotham. I highly advise you watch the movie Batman Begins, not only because it's a great movie, but because it is basically a lesson on fear. The whole movie is about fear, and it's a lesson on how to use and how to harness fear to be your power. And as soon as I started to attack my fears and seeing like, oh, when I have this uneasy feeling or this fearful feeling or I'm scared, that's what I need to do. Because right after you conquer that fear, that's the success. And I get scared on things that I'm doing all the time. You don't get over fear. And if you are not afraid of fear, or if you never feel fearful, you need to worry because something might be wrong with you. You might be a freaking psycho, right? But even just on some life stuff, growing up where I'm from, everybody that I grew up with that wasn't scared of nothing, that had no fear, they all dead. They're not here with us no more. They got killed. They wasn't scared of nothing. Now, I know I'm going a little extreme here, and I don't mean to be morbid, but if I take that to the business sense or to the entrepreneurial world, if you don't got no fear, you're gonna get killed. You're supposed to be scared of stuff. You're supposed to be fearful of stuff. That's a good thing. But on the other side of that fear, that's where the success lies. And most people, they get crippled by that fear. They run. They say, fuck it, fuck everything and run. Instead of facing it and rising, face everything and rise. Number 9, hearing no is also a good thing. No's are actually great. The first business that I ever started in years ago was in real estate, right? And my sole lead generation at the time was cold calling. I was working the phones every single day. I'm making hundreds of phone calls every single day. It got to a point where I was hearing no so much that I got scared of getting on the phone. Like people are cursing me out. People are being the most disrespectful that you could ever hear. No. And I'm like, damn. But then something switched for me in my mind. And I said, let me turn this into a game. Because the business that I was in at the time, my average deal size was anywhere between $8,000 and $14,000 on average. Sometimes it'd be a little lower, sometimes it'd be higher, but on average, somewhere between $8,000 and $14,000. And then from me tracking my KPIs in that business, from me tracking my KPIs, I started to realize, I was like, okay, for every 100 no's I get an appointment. And from every, I think it was like, I can't remember the number, but for every, I'm just make up numbers for the sake of the example. For every 2 appointments I go on, I close a deal. So I need to get 200 no's in order to get 2 appointments, in order to get 1 deal to close, to whereas I can make my $8,000 to $14,000. So then the game turned into, instead of how many yeses can I get today, I started to track my no's. How many no's can I get today? Oh shoot, today I got 85 no's. So I should get a yes by tomorrow. 85 no's today. Whoo, it was a good day. I got 85 no's. I was shooting to get 150. I take my business online 100%. Those no's, because I track my KPIs, those no's with your digital products, those no's in your online business are going to be, how many people did not sign up for my wait list? No's. How many people did not purchase? How many people landed on this page and didn't purchase? How many people did not sign up for my lead magnet? Because the quicker that you get through those no's, the faster that you get to your yeses. And most people get discouraged by all of the no's that they never get to the point of getting the yes. And here's the other thing about hearing no. The only way to figure out what does work is by figuring out what doesn't work. And the only way to figure out what doesn't work is by getting the no's. So hurry up and get those no's and gamify it like I did. Make those no's a good thing. These people did not choose to follow you. These people did not choose to subscribe. These people did not choose to purchase. These people chose to not sign up for your email list or your lead magnet or purchases or whatnot. Track your KPIs so you'll know how many no's that you need to get to the yes. And then you'll be like, okay, let's hurry up and get these no's out the way so I can get to the bread. And then lastly, number 10, raise the floor. Raise the floor. This is a mistake that I made early on in my entrepreneurial journey. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're always stuck on raising the bar. Let's raise the bar. Let's raise the bar. We shoot for the stars. We have these huge goals and we want to hit them. But here's the thing about goals and dreams and aspirations. We never achieve them. We never do. Or they would not be a dream. We don't rise to the level of our dreams and our goals. We rise to the level of our standards. We rise to the level of our standards. What do I mean by that? Think about every single thing that you have accomplished in your life. You accomplished it because it became the norm or it became your standard. So if you have a goal of hitting $10,000 a month, that doesn't need to be the dream, that needs to be the standard. You need to raise the floor. Because here's the thing, if you continue to try to raise the bar, it's like building a house with no foundation. If it has no bottom, everything's just going to fall. But if you focus on raising the floor and building a standard as this is what's acceptable and continue to raise that, then you just start to have new norms. So for me, I had this at the time, and I don't know why this is the number for everybody, because it was the number for me also, and you're setting yourself short if $10,000 a month is your goal. Because if you chose to raise the floor and have a higher standard, you would make way more than $10,000 a month. But if you just raise the bar and continue to raise the bar instead of raising the floor, if stuff falls through, it's going to everything's going to collapse. Set new norms and set new standards. Remember, we don't rise to the level of our dreams and aspirations. We rise to the level of our standard. Everything that you're doing right now is because you have mentally made that your standard. You expect it to happen, so you're comfortable with it. You cannot get to a higher level because you have not mentally made that your standard and accepted that to be your new norm. Like I said, remember, going back to number 1, most of this stuff is just a mindset thing. You gotta believe it. And here's the thing about a belief system too. What most people don't realize is that faith and doubt both require belief. They're both belief systems. People think that faith is just a belief. No, if you doubt something or you doubt yourself, you have belief that you cannot do the thing. You have belief that you cannot achieve it. You have a belief that you can't make whatever your dream is the standard norm, to whereas it's not acceptable if you don't do that anymore. Think about just other things, right? I have a bottle of water in my hand right now. This bottle of water, I've made my new standard spring water. I don't buy bottled water unless it's spring water. I did not start doing that until I just made it my standard and said, no, that's not acceptable. I'm not drinking that. I need something from the spring that's rubbing against the rocks naturally and all this stuff. Don't add all. I made that my standard. Think about certain restaurants that you eat at. There's certain places that you refuse to eat at now that you used to eat at faithfully. Why? You said, no, I'm too good for that shit that I used to eat. This is the new norm. Even in dating, relationships or whatever, when you said this ain't no relationship advice, but the people that I see that have successful, happy relationships, it's because they set a standard and made a new norm and made other shit just, it's not acceptable for that. You need to do the same thing with your money goals. Stop making it this big dream and big aspiration and this like when you talk about it like it's this unattainable goal, this dream of someday I will be able to. Raise the floor and set the standard that this is the norm, how you do every single thing else. See all these people that you see on the screen right now? They made their goals the new norm. They raised the floor. And if you're ready to actually take some action and raise the floor, go ahead and click the link down in the description. Join this Credit at the Top community for weekly coaching from myself, all of my exclusive trainings, plus a private community of entrepreneurs, all designed to grow your business online with digital products. It's only $47 a month to join. That's less than a cup of coffee per day. So click the link down in the description and tap in, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. But if you've made it to this far, you're in the right place, because this is actually, in my opinion, one of my best videos of value that I've given. But I have tactics and strategies and marketing tips and money, all that money talking stuff all throughout my page. You can just check out other videos on my page. This is more a mindset thing, and I actually thought that this video would only take like 7 or 8 minutes, but I think, let me check the time. This is one of my longer videos, because as I started to talk about this, and like I said at the beginning, mindset is more important than skill set. So I spent more time now, I'm thinking about it, on these 10, because this is really where it's at. All the other videos on my page is this many ways to get this, how I did this in this amount of time. That's all strategy, skill, and trust me, it works. So I would not make the video about it, because I did it. Like it's proof. The stuff I talk about works. But if you don't have the mindset, it doesn't matter how many videos I make about tactics and strategy and skills. And majority of these 10 is a mindset. So always remember, mindset's more important than skill set. And always be willing to invest in your personal development, mindset, and acquiring skills. Personal development, mindset, skills. That's what it comes down to. So go ahead and click the link down in the description if you want to tap into the community, and I'll see you on our call this Wednesday. And if you want some actual tactics, step-by-step breakdowns, all the strategies, check out this playlist. You definitely gonna find what you're looking for. It's Credit at the Top.